G'day and welcome back to RC Model Reviews. Today I want to look at the RC280 mini quadcopter frame. Now, this isn't it, but there's a backstory to this review, and that is that this is the DL180. I've done part one of the review on this, and I have done some flying with it. Even though I've got some sync issues with these ESCs, I've taken it out, given it a bit of a fly around. Now, I'm really happy with this little thing. It flies so nicely. The only problems I've had is that when I try and do flips and rolls, the motors lose sync and it falls from the sky, but that's a great test for the robustness of this little frame, and it is super strong, as you'd expect from something this small with a 3mm carbon base plate. So I have got very few complaints about this little craft at all, and in fact I liked it so much that I ordered another one from Surveilzone. I was going to get it going and add it to the little squadron of mini quads here that I have at the field, so when people want to come along and try out different frames and try out different combinations and even just have a go at FPV mini quad racing, well, hey, it'll be sitting here, everyone can have a turn. So I ordered the DL180 and some FPV gear and some propellers, and the box arrived today. Look, there's the box, it arrived today, and I opened it up, took out the FPV transmitter, the antennas, the 4-inch props, because a little frame like this isn't much good unless you've got some 4-inch props. And then I came to the quadcopter frame itself, and as most people who've watched the review of the DL180 will know, it comes in a cardboard box like this. I was quite surprised that they put such a small frame in its own cardboard box with its own label, and inside there was instructions and even a sheet of foam to protect it for some reason. Like, you're going to be crashing into trees and buildings, so I don't know why it needs foam, but hey, it all adds to the impression of a really good quality product. So I was a little bit confused and bewildered when, instead of that nice box, I got this. What? Yeah, this is just one of those silver plastic bags, and I thought, well, maybe they're just saving costs now. They're cutting down on the packaging costs, try and make a bit more money out of them, as the Chinese tend to do once they get a successful product. But then I looked inside, and it wasn't a DL180 at all. It was an RC280. And that's not what I ordered, of course, so I contacted Surveilzone and said, excuse me, but you seem to have sent the wrong thing. And to their credit, ta-da, they said, we'll send you out the right thing straight away by DHL. Ta-da. Well, that is what I call customer service. I'm very pleased to report that Surveilzone definitely gets a thumbs up from me for customer service. That was fantastic. Now, is it because I am RC Model Reviews? I don't know. I like to think that they would do this for anybody when they messed up an order, but hey, I buy quite a bit of stuff from Surveilzone, so maybe I am a valued customer. And who knows if you'd get the same results if you had something incorrectly shipped to you. But hey, I figured, well, I'm happy with Surveilzone, that's great. I've got one of these RC280 frames, why don't I review it? And maybe I'll give it away because, hey, it's Christmas. So I'll tell you a bit more about that later in the video. But let's take a look at what's in this bag. And here's what you get. You get yourself a base plate, you get yourself a top plate, an under plate, 4 arms, FPV camera mount, Mobius mount, and a little plastic bag full of spacers, nuts, bolts, washers, bobbins, and so forth. There you go. Pretty standard fare. Now, I had seen this RC280 on the Surveilzone website, and I didn't order one because it's not the kind of quad that I could see myself enjoying. Why not? Well, it's advertised as a lightweight FPV mini quad. And it is a lightweight. Obviously, it's going to be really light because these frame members here are made from 1.6mm carbon, and that is really light. But the downside is, look, it's really flexible, really twisty. So, and also areas like this are going to be quite weak. If you have a bit of a crash and a tumble, I could see that breaking pretty damn easily. And same goes for the top frame. That's really lightweight too, and the under frame, that's lightweight as well. So, it's not going to be a quad that's going to withstand the sort of the racing riggers or the freestyle riggers that you might get, when you're crashing from great heights. Don't think this would stand up too well. And in fact, another reason why it wouldn't are these arms. Now these arms, there's a few things I think wrong with these arms. First of all, this area here where the motor mounts is too small. So if you're running a 2204 and you hit a post or something, it's going to hit the motor bell, and that'll bend your shaft or distort your bell, ruin your motor. Also, there's a lot of cutouts in here, a lot of cutouts. And as people who watch my videos will know regularly, I'm not a fan of cutting out, making things so weak just to save 2 or 3 grams. Really, it's just not worth it because carbon is strong. Why remove the strength from your arms by cutting all these holes? It costs extra to route them out. You end up making the thing weaker, and you don't gain much in terms of reduction in weight. And finally, look at this. It has 2 bolts to hold its arms onto the frame. It's okay if you want to save weight. That's 2 less bolts, but as you can see, they go on here, and there's not much meat either side of that arm in terms of the carbon. It's only this little area here, and it's only 1.6 mil carbon, so I could see that breaking pretty damn easily. And if the main member didn't break, then I think what would happen is if you're flying along and you hit a post, then it's just going to rip the bolt through the end of this arm. The arms will just rip, and you'll basically need a new arm. Now, I've checked, haven't seen new arms available anywhere. I haven't seen them advertised on the Surveilzone site. Maybe they are because it's quite a large site, but I noticed the only comment in the review section for this frame was, where do I get spare parts? So obviously someone has had a problem. And again, if you're going to be using, or you're looking for a competition racer, this probably isn't for you. If you wanted something that you could just stool around, just slowly fly around, or even reasonably quickly, but you didn't plan on crashing into things, and you wanted something that's really light and reasonably large, because a 280, that's getting up there. This is a 180, so imagine a 280, it's bigger than that. If you wanted something that's bigger, lighter, a little bit more fragile, this frame might work for you. I think it's about $35. It's pretty cheap frame. But not a competition racer. And the other reason it's not a competition racer is, look at the camera mounting. We've got this camera plate here for the board camera, and it just fits into slots in the main frame. So it's only ever going to be at 90 degrees, so your camera's going to look straight forward, unless you start farting around with spacers and washers and things to angle your camera. One thing I liked about the DL180, of course, is this little camera mount here, which means you can actually alter the angle of your camera really easily. It's on a pivot there. Brilliant idea. You can use a board camera or a case camera, and they'll both work in there, and you can get that racing angle. Unfortunately, the Mobius platform on these doesn't have that either. It doesn't have an angle, so you've got to use bits of foam like I've done to get the angle on your Mobius, which brings us to the Mobius platform on here. And again, it's probably okay if you're not going to be crashing into stuff, but if you were going to be hitting stuff, there's just not enough meat there for the Velcro to stick to. So if you put Velcro on there and put your Mobius or your Legend 1 or your Run Cam or whatever on there, and you hit something, then it's going to rip the actual sticky of the Velcro off this platform, and you'll lose your Mobius. So it's not such a good thing. Notice also some of the bolts are a little short for my liking, because these, and hope it didn't break anything, these aluminium posts tend to be made of fairly soft aluminium, and if the bolts aren't long enough, they strip out so easily that you need good engagement of the bolts with the posts. That's very, very important. So looking at that, what do I think of it? Well, if you want as I said, if you want a lightweight quad rather than a competition quad, $35 is not much money, and it'll give you a much bigger quad than the ZMR250, certainly a bigger quad than the DL180. It's not a quad that would interest me, but hey, I didn't order it. It just came out of the blue, and I don't think Surveilzone meant to send it to me, so it's just a bonus. So what will I do with this frame, since I'm not going to use it? I don't have spare ESCs and motors to put on here. I've got other frames far more demanding of my spare bits and pieces to test, so I'm going to give it away. Yes, I'll give it to some lucky RC Model Reviews viewer. All you've got to do is give the video a thumbs up and leave a comment in the comment section. It doesn't have to be a positive comment. I value every comment, whether it's critical or positive. So leave me a comment, give me a thumbs up, and I will just go through it random and pick out one of the commenters and put this in an envelope, mail it off to them. So if you want a nice lightweight, fully carbon frame, it is fully carbon, I've checked it, nice lightweight, fully carbon, multi-rotor frame that's not going to hold up to the smashing and bashing of racing, but it will, it'll get you in the air, and if you're just learning, it might be a reasonable platform for just those early stages where you're just tooling around slowly. So there you go, you know what to do. In the meantime, I'll put this back in the bag, clear the bench, and get on with the reviews. Bye for now.